Hello, my name is Albereth Fernandez, and this is my video assignment for Poly 170. The active political event that I chose was an official meeting by the Taxation, Finance, and Economic Development Committee that was held at Baltimore City Council on April 23rd, 2014. In particular, this was a hearing regarding an audit um, by the City of Baltimore on a recent homeless prevention and rapid rehousing program. The objective of the audit and the questioning was to determine whether the city properly expended grant funds in accordance with the homeless prevention program.
The question I have is this, and it's a question that I know we won't resolve tonight, but it does speak to it. You alluded to it somewhat in your testimony, that, and this is my concern, that is HUD's definition of homeless. What it means to be homeless. And how we interpreted that, because I think that when someone resides in the residence of a family member or a friend that is temporary to keep them from sleeping on the street does not mean that they are not homeless. It means that someone has taken mercy upon them to give them a roof over their head while they're seeking housing of their own. And I know that HUD does not recognize that individual as being homeless. And so my question is, how many persons, where is the overlap of persons being served by these dollars that we receive that were outside of the scope of the definition that HUD holds on to as constituting being homeless?
Honestly, we would say, now look at the writer speak, that these people met the HUD definition of homelessness. It's just, we didn't take that extra step to get that extra piece of paper or ask that additional question for the documentation. Maybe they can explain better, but we understand, right? HUD does not recognize someone couch surfing as being homeless. We knew that this was a grant for persons who met HUD's definition of homeless or who were imminently homeless.
So then my follow-up is this. When did we receive notice of the paperwork or the sign-off that was being required by HUD to support the dollars that we were making available to providers? So, in other words, if we were providing services to homeless persons under HUD's definition and not getting this paperwork, were these requirements by HUD known to us at that time that the paperwork was needed?
And so where the identity politics comes in is exactly what they were talking about, which is HUD's definition of homelessness, HUD being the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. And even though homelessness might appear to be strictly socioeconomic, once we look at the demographics and the statistic, according to the U.S. Census, African Americans disproportionately represent the homeless population. African Americans make up 12% of the country's general population, and yet they represent 40% of the homeless population. In Baltimore City alone, African Americans comprise of 85% of the homeless population. And so the issue of homelessness and the definition of homelessness very much becomes an issue of identity politics, especially in a place like Baltimore City. Yet, identity politics is manifesting here in a positive way because this is an example of how the U.S. government accommodates rather than ignore or cover up the grievances of the minority African American population and the minority population does have very concrete material grievances which the institution of the US and also Baltimore City governments are trying to address. And since the minority ethnic group is allowed to voice their grievances within the system itself, the state is inherently allowing for conflict resolution on a peaceful basis